I've been a Mega Man fan since I was a tiny child. And out of all the different versions of Mega Man, the X series has always been by far my favorite. While it isn't the series with the most entries, and heck, you could even argue it doesn't have the best batting average of any of the Mega Man series, I've always had a strong attraction to its aesthetic, its story themes, its characters, its music, the pace of its gameplay. I love everything about it. One of the most iconic things about the X series and one of its biggest story elements is the Maverick virus. Now, if you've seen the title, you know I have a hot take about it, but first let's go over some basics. If you're at all familiar with the X series, you probably have some idea of what the Maverick virus is. It's the computer virus that makes Reploids go evil and or crazy, and is the main weapon in the arsenal of Sigma, the series' main antagonist. Sigma's consciousness is so intertwined with the virus that he can never truly be destroyed so long as the virus continues to exist. Now, it's important to note that not every Maverick in the series is infected by the Sigma virus or any other virus at all.
Maverick. What could cause someone to go Maverick anyway? Program errors, short circuits in the electronic brain. The very things that give us Reploids our advanced processing power could also be our greatest weakness.
By this definition, Maverick is simply the Reploid version of criminal insanity. It's speculated that these defect Mavericks were caused by Dr. Kane and others who manufactured the first Reploids being unable to fully understand Dr. Light's specifications and thus building crucial flaws into the new beings. But it gets even more complicated than that. Since the Maverick Hunters and the human government are the only ones with the authority to declare someone a Maverick, any Reploid whose goals opposes the government's or who acts in a way that the authorities don't approve of can be labeled a Maverick, no matter how sound of mind they are.
Who are you to judge? Only future generations will have the right to say whether we are truly Maverick or not.
So, Maverick is also a political designation. Yeah! But in spite of all that, a majority of Mavericks are virus infected, and Sigma himself definitely was. So to get a better understanding of this virus, let's go back to the very beginning of the series. In 2018, at a 30th anniversary celebration of the Rockman franchise, a character relationship chart supposedly made between Mega Man 5 and the release of Mega Man X was spotted and photographed by a fan. When we read the handy translated version of this chart, the relevant passage showed that Dr. Wily created Zero alongside something called the Robot Virus Project and died before the virus was completed. This incomplete version of the virus infected Zero at the lab. No comment. The virus then infects Sigma, turning him into the most dangerous Maverick yet. Now, there's no way of knowing how authoritative this document is. It was only meant for internal use, and it's possible that the ideas explained in it were changed before release, or at least in the release of subsequent games. But it's still a good starting point. Mega Man X itself doesn't mention Zero's origins, Dr. Wily, or any virus. The only piece of information we get that sort of ties in is the Easter egg after the credits where Sigma claims that you've only destroyed his body, not his mind. Mega Man X2 gets much deeper into things. When the rebuilt Zero confronts Sigma, Sigma tells him this: "I know your secret. You were destined to follow me." After Zero blows him off and X defeats Sigma's new body, Sigma then transforms into a Mode 7 hologram form. This form has retroactively been dubbed the Virus Sigma, although I don't believe anything in the game itself points to him being a virus. Once that form is defeated, Sigma gives his usual cope speech about how he'll never truly be defeated, but then wonders why Zero didn't follow him, since Zero is the last of the Doctor's creations. And in case that's too subtle for you, in Japanese, Sigma says that Zero is the last of the W numbers. So, we have confirmation that Zero was built by Wily, and the first appearance of Sigma's virus form. In X3, Dr. Doppler, who pretended to have found a cure for Maverick status, reveals at the end of the game when you defeat him that Sigma's true form is that of a computer virus, and that he and everyone else in Doppler Town were corrupted by it. After Sigma's battle body is defeated, he reverts to his wireframe form again, this time clearly a virus, and claims that he wants to possess X to defeat him once and for all. Either Zero or Doppler shows up with an antivirus program, presumably putting an end to Sigma once and for all. Except that it doesn't. This was the first time a virus being responsible for Mavericks or being linked to Sigma was communicated to players at all. This led to a lot of people assuming that all Mavericks up until now had been virus infected, but later material would prove that not to be the case. A few months later, the arcade game Mega Man 2: The Power Fighter is released. If you beat the game as base, Dr. Wily tells him this in his ending.
And I've created a new type of robot which is much more powerful than you are, Mega Man. It will be some time before I complete this project though. You better get ready. And this is more than just a simple robot. With this robot and my other project complete, the world will be mine. No one will stop me.
This is the most direct confirmation yet that Wily created Zero. And while it's very vague, it's also the first time it's hinted that Wily had something to do with the virus. In Mega Man X4, when you play as Zero, the opening cutscene has him dreaming of a mysterious stranger.
Who are you?
My masterpiece.
But who are you?
Stop asking me who I am!
Dream Wily then orders Zero to go after and destroy his nemesis. We can only assume he's talking about X. Zero then has visions of destroyed Reploids and his own hands covered in, blood? Do Reploids bleed? Anyway, later in the game, Sigma reveals to Zero the truth of their first encounter. A Maverick Hunter unit had been having trouble with a dangerous red Maverick, and Sigma himself was sent in to take him on one-on-one, mano-a-mano.
Show me your moves!
After a brutal fight, Zero gets the upper hand and is about to finish Sigma off. When suddenly, a W begins to glow in a gem in his forehead, and he appears to suffer a massive headache.
Yes! Welcome! Punch!
Congratulations!
Sigma then orders his subordinates to bring Zero back to the repair lab and have him studied. By all accounts, when Zero next awakes, he has no memory of anything, including his battle with Sigma. And after he's declared to no longer be a threat, he joins the Maverick Hunters as one of their best units. So, we have an arguably more canonical confirmation of Zero's origins, and quite possibly see the moment where Sigma got first infected by the virus. In Mega Man X5, Sigma shows up as the boss of the intro stage. This giant head turns out to be a virus pinata, and when it's destroyed, it spreads the Sigma virus across the entire Earth. To make matters worse, Sigma had previously loaded up the space colony Eurasia with even more virus, and plans to crash it directly into Earth. This causes the colony virus and the Sigma virus to merge into one super virus, called the Zero virus, opening up Zero Space, a pocket dimension where cyberspace and reality meet. You know what? It doesn't matter. The important part is that on the bad ending route, Zero flies a shuttle into the colony to try to stop it. He then gets a faceful of colony virus and Sigma virus at the point of impact. This virus supercharge transforms him into Awakened Zero, a glowing, more powerful form with a malevolent personality. Oh, and he can fly somehow. Zero rambles about his purpose and destiny, which seems to involve destroying X, and claims not to be a Maverick. X's scans confirm this, but X can sense that this new Zero is an evil, possibly greater than Sigma, and the two battle. It's important to note that this story path isn't canon. The good ending of X5 is the canonical one. However, this outcome was the entire point of Sigma's plan. He tells Zero that he met an old man who told him how to reveal Zero's true power, and that's why he unleashed his virus across the Earth. According to the old man, Zero is the strongest in the universe, and the virus purifies his body and lets him access his real potential. Sigma hoped that once Zero awoke, he and X would kill each other, saving him the trouble. In Zero's ending, when he sacrifices himself again to protect X, he has visions of his creator and of his own construction. Before dying, he claims his creator made the one that destroys Reploids. In the Japanese script, he says it was a robot destruction protocol? Program? At any rate, this game teaches us a lot about Zero's intended purpose and his relationship with the virus. The virus was made specifically for him, at least in part, and both their purposes seem to be to destroy X, or possibly all Reploids. More stuff happens relating to Sigma, Zero, and the Maverick virus in later games, but it's not really relevant to what I want to discuss, because X5 leads us to how most fans understand things today. Wily created Zero and put the virus in him. The virus got transferred to Sigma during the battle, and Sigma carried on Wily's evil designs. Even Zero's character profile in the Mega Man X Command Mission Player's Guide tells this version of the story. Add in a few fan theories about evil energy and Roboenza, and that pretty much covers it. But what if I told you there was another explanation? The first question I want to ask is about Dr. Wily. Namely, would he really want to create something like the Maverick virus? Wily is a villain, but his goals have always been to be recognized as a greater genius than Dr. Light, and possibly
Try to take over the world.
Sigma's motivation started out as a desire to wipe out all of humanity, to make way for Reploids as the dominant species, and seemingly devolved into wanting to cause as much chaos and misery as possible as the series went on. Wily's schemes might have endangered lives and the world itself, but indiscriminate murder was never part of his goals. He never even tried to kill Dr. Light, his greatest rival. And there have been moments where he shows signs of having a conscience. You could argue that this is simply a difference in tone between the classic and X series, and that Wily's actions did lead to deaths that were simply left implied. Or you could make a case that decades of failure drove a dying Wily to such bitterness that he wanted to see his rival's dreams destroyed, no matter the cost to humanity. But risking the end of all human life still seems like a big leap. Another inconsistency is with Zero. Awakened Zero, the version of Zero loaded up with Maverick virus, doesn't really behave the same way as Maverick Zero did when he fought Sigma. Awakened Zero talks like Sephiroth and seems capable of complex planning. Maverick Zero doesn't even talk at all, and if he did, he'd probably say something like,
Kill everyone now! Condone first-degree murder! Advocate cannibalism! Eat shit!
He doesn't even seem to have a sense of self-preservation. He's just attacking anything that moves for the fun of it. Also, just look at Awakened Zero. He's flying around, he's got an evil aura, his hair is all spread out. That's not the Zero Sigma fought. So, what's going on here? The answers may lie in a 2010 article on the Mega Man Network website titled, Does the Rockman Zero Collection Storyline Explain Everything? The article discusses story information released on a Japan-only official site for the Rockman Zero Collection game released on DS. And a crucial piece of information revealed here was that when Zero is created by Dr. Wily, he contained a flaw in his cognitive program that made him violent and unwilling to obey instructions. So that will mean that the Berserk Zero Sigma fought is this flawed version, and presumably Awakened Zero is what Wily wanted to create in the first place. So if the virus makes Zero stronger and restores his primary function, what if that was all it was ever meant to do? What if Wily created a program that would detect when Zero activated and would then transmit Zero's full program into him, essentially patching Maverick Zero and turning him into Awakened Zero? What if it was that update process that froze Zero in his tracks during his fight with Sigma? And when Sigma shattered Zero's forehead jewel, what if that process was interrupted? The program fixed Zero's berserk rage, but his new personality never got installed. This blank slate personality eventually became Heroic Zero. But Zero wasn't alone in that building. The device would have continued broadcasting its virus, and it's possible Sigma's advanced Reploid brain could have received it. Sigma was created to be the most advanced and powerful Reploid ever, and he knew it.
The perpetrator was so skilled. Not many Reploids have specs that high.
This made him slightly arrogant and feel superior to others, even humans. If his personality program merged with Dr. Wily's directive to Zero to destroy X, or all Reploids, or possibly even Dr. Light's dream, it could have resulted in the Reploid supremacist ideology we see in Maverick Sigma.
Ow! Look who's evil now!
His sense of superiority would have become so amplified and twisted that he would come to believe that the humans he was created to protect no longer deserved to exist, and that he alone should rule the future of Reploids. Even worse, his personality program fusing with the virus made this insane version of Sigma functionally immortal. And so, while trying to perfect his greatest creation, Wily unwittingly unleashed the greatest threat humanity has ever known. And it was all a tragic accident. I'm aware my theory isn't airtight. If Wily never meant to contribute to Sigma's actions, then we have to ask about that old man Sigma talked about. More to the point, a lot of clues point to Sergeus from Mega Man X2 and Isaac from Mega Man X6 being hosts to Dr. Wily's consciousness. If all of those entities were Wily, he was a very active participant in some of Sigma's most evil schemes. But the thing is, we don't have direct confirmation of Sergeus and Isaac's identities. It's one of the enduring mysteries of the X series.
Such a lust for revenge?
And while Sigma's description of the old man may conjure images of a sentient hologram like those in Dr. Light's capsules, it's possible that whatever he encountered was simply a fragment of Wily's memories. Even if it was Wily's personality preserved, we don't know what exactly they discussed. It's possible this Wily hologram would have no idea who Sigma is, or what he'd been up to. There's certainly no reason to think nuking the Earth to awaken Zero was Wily's idea, for example. I'm also aware that I don't have a lot of proof for some of my assumptions, and that some behind-the-scenes statements and documents contradict my theories. But it's really questionable how much weight can be placed on those. Well, there it is. My theory about the Maverick virus. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Either way, I hope you found this video somewhat entertaining. I know I used a lot of images from the comics and manga and other non-mainline canon material in this video, but they're meant as visual aids, not evidence. I hope that was clear. I don't know if I'll ever make another video like this, but I really love discussing Mega Man lore and nerdy things like that. I want to thank BurnCrow SP for encouraging me to make this video and providing the voice of Dr. Wily. Thanks for watching!